On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 2017. We're going to be taking a look at Randy Newman, and he's going to be performing You've Got a Friend in Me. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, it's going to be a short video for tonight. The performance is just over 2 minutes in length, and we have Chris Thile here performing vocals as well as playing his mandolin. We have the full band here. But let's get the guys up on screen and see how they get on.
Got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old past said. Boy, you've got a friend in me. Yeah, you've got a friend in me.
Got a friend in me. Oh, you got a friend in me. You got troubles and I got them too, but there isn't anything that I wouldn't do for you. We stick together and can see it through, 'cause you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am.
Maybe bigger and stronger too.
Maybe, but none of them could ever love you the way I do.
Oh, it's me and you, boy.
And as the years go by,
well, our friendship will never die.
You're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me.
And you got a friend in me.
Yeah, you got a friend in me.
And there we have it. I mean, this is one of those songs that I think everybody knows, and if you didn't know it before the Toy Story movies came out, then you'd definitely know it after. And the thing about Randy is that he's just got it. When we talk about music and connecting with an audience and songwriting and having that emotional connection with an audience and getting that through compositions, especially when it is paired with, you know, a motion picture and images, it really brings life to the song. But if you're just listening to the song in itself, there's so much expression in the way that it's delivered by Randy. And it's something that we was actually talking about in the live stream last night, about singing and hitting notes and maybe being a little bit too concerned with the accuracy of hitting notes. You've got to decide what kind of artist you want to be when you approach your singing. And I mentioned about, you know, trying to sing in other people's ranges and just focusing on your own range and all that kind of stuff. And Randy is the example, the shining example of somebody who's performing a song, but the message of the song, the connection of the song, and the lyrical content of the song is more important than the technicalities of the delivery of the song, because it's very much the thing that gives the expression is the way it's being delivered, because it's more like a conversation between two people here than just going through a technical exercise of trying to be as perfect as possible with pitch and, you know, delivery stylizations and all of the technical elements that might go into performing a vocal and breathing, diaphragmatic support and all that kind of stuff. That's not what this is about, because this is the art form of music. There is a hell of a lot going into this musically, and we're not going to get into all of the chords, but what I will do is just point out the fact that we have chord changes all the time, and if we are counting along, we're pretty much changing chords, I think, actually, on every 2 beats. So we get 2 beats, we get a new chord, but we'll just have a listen again.
You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks...
Yeah, so if you're counting along and going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, literally every 2 beats we're changing chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you think about it, that's a hell of a lot of information that's changing all the time, but you don't notice it because it is so well put together. The other thing about this song is the way that it is like walking. The song kind of plods forwards, especially with the bass. Obviously that's going to play a huge part in it, that emphasis on the beat, not being off the beat. So when you're emphasizing the on beat, that's like you are walking forwards rather than having those beats that are being emphasized off the beat. And I've mentioned this in lots of other videos about when you have the off beat, it's like your foot's in the air, it's like jumping up. And when we listen to it,
rough ahead in your miles and miles from your nice warm bed. You just remember what your old past said. Boy, you've got a friend in me.
I mean, the bass is very much on 1 and 3, so going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it gives you that impression of walking actually at a slower tempo. So that's what I mean, we're plodding along. But that's the whole feel of this song, and that's why it works so well, is that it all comes together musically, rhythmically. Like I said, lots of chord changes here, but because it all gels so well, I mean, it really speaks to the compositional ability that Randy has, and the fact that not only is he just great at writing songs, but just great at putting the feeling into music. This is the thing about Randy. If you don't know a lot about him, he's written so many great songs, but so many great scores for movies, and being able to pair the emotional impact of what you're seeing with the music and it all becoming one. And Toy Story is obviously an example of that, but the Monsters Inc. movies as well, the Cars movies, and I mean, just going into traditional songs, he's written songs, especially here in the UK. You Can Leave Your Hat On, that's one that everyone will know here. Mama Told Me Not to Come, that's another one. So he's got this ability to write great songs, but just somehow put his finger on the mood of what you're seeing and just be able to apply the music in a perfect way so that you're hit emotionally by those two things at the same time. And that's why the Toy Story movies, for example, have been so huge. It's not just about the imagery on screen, it's about getting that perfect score to relay the emotions of what you're seeing through sound. And that's, like I said in this video earlier, that's an art form, being able to do that, because when you have the wrong kind of music and the wrong feel to what you're seeing, it just obviously doesn't make sense, and it's at total odds with each other. And sometimes that can be the make or break of a movie altogether, not having a good score written for it, because you don't get that emotional connection with the sounds and the images that you're seeing. So it's a massively underrated part of movies, and all you have to do is take a scene from a movie that is full of emotion, and when you're hitting that emotional peak with what you're seeing on screen, and then put in a totally unsuitable soundtrack or score, and it totally ruins what you're seeing, because you can't focus on what you're seeing because your attention's taken by this ridiculous score you're hearing that just isn't hitting the right notes musically and emotionally. Something else, just to point out that on the original video on YouTube, which there is a link to in the description below, the mix is definitely vocal heavy. So on this, because I have isolated the vocals and the backing, I've boosted the volume of the backing to make it a bit more of an even mix. But of course I have run the vocals through the pitch monitoring software just to make the point that it isn't always about hitting notes, because when we're looking at Randy's voice,
you got a friend in me.
He does hit notes to begin with, A sharp 3, C4. So it means that we've got that guide, and often what will happen when you're taken in by the lyrical content of a song and the emotion of a song, your mind and your ear fills in the gaps. We've been given the key, obviously, by the instrumentation, but we've also been given the melody clearly when the song starts. So our brains and our ears will fill in the gaps because we've been given this reference point. So it's a really important point to make, that straight off the bat, we are vocally accurate. We can see that, the A sharp 3 and the C4 being very clearly given to our ear.
You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed.
I mean, even there on the D4, we didn't really ascend to the note that your ear will fill in. We know where the note should have been, and that's the point, that because it's so well put together, we're listening to the talking, the conversation of the vocal, rather than now, focusing in on pitch. The interesting thing is that Chris, on the lead vocal and supplying the harmony vocals, he has that different approach of being a lot more strict with melody and hitting notes. And it'll be interesting as we continue, because we'll be able to see that on the pitch monitoring software.
You just remember what your old past said. Boy, you've got a friend in me.
Again, a little lean towards the D sharp 4. He's kind of zeroing in on that. And this is the point, that you don't need to be really accurate all the time. Just these hints at melody and accuracy of that melody is all that's required.
Yeah, you've got a friend in me.
Again, really nice A sharp 3 there.
You got a friend in me. Oh, you got a friend in me.
And here we have Chris now straight onto this A sharp 3, C4, and the D sharp 4. You can see his accuracy here is just mightily impressive. He's being really strict with that, really subtle vibrato in there as well on that D sharp 4.
You got troubles and I got them too, but there isn't anything that I wouldn't do for you. We stick together and can see it through, 'cause you got a friend in me.
And actually works really well to approach it in this way. Something that puts this version of the song and this performance of the song in a different place, because it's interesting. We're adding something different here just by having a different voice in there.
You've got a friend in me.
Some other folks might be a little bit smarter than I am.
Maybe bigger and stronger too.
Maybe, but none of them could ever love you the way I do.
Oh, it's me and you, boy.
And as the years go by,
Well, our friendship will never die.
you're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me.
And you got a friend in me.
Yeah, you got a friend in me.
I just want to point out something about the dynamics, the way that the band are playing here. It's not something that you're going to notice maybe on the original video, because the instrumentation is so low in the mix. Because I've boosted it up, you can listen out for the drums. I mean, they are so subtle, but they are in there. Listen in for that foot pedal. I mean, it's just kind of tickling the kick drum. But it's great because it's exactly where it needs to be. Listen out for the fiddle when it comes in. And it just cuts through the mix because it is so well played. But then obviously it's just for that solo section where we want to hear it and giving us that classic lead melody of the song. And everything else, even the mandolin's in there, the bass is great, it's just all in exactly the right spot. And I think the way that we've got it mixed for this video is probably a little bit closer as to how it was on the night when people were listening to it, because it's just the way that through the recording it's just been put through a little bit low instrumentally, but it gives you an idea of the attention to detail of the band. And piecing this together is all about subtlety. This kind of performance, you can't afford to, put your foot on the accelerator in pretty much any part of this song. So just taking it back to where it would have been live, we get to now appreciate not only the vocal clearly, but the musicianship, the ability of the musicians on stage to edit their dynamics individually but then collectively so that they all sit in exactly the right place. Another thing I want to mention quickly is the different dynamic we get with this live performance, considering that we've got 2 lead vocals. And let's just have a listen to this section.
Some of the folks might be a little bit smarter than I am.
Maybe bigger and stronger too.
Maybe.
So when Chris says maybe bigger and stronger too, now, when Randy says maybe, he's almost accepting that there will be other people that are bigger and stronger. But on the original, Randy sings all of that. So when he says a bigger and stronger too, maybe, he's questioning the fact that there might be people that are bigger and stronger, but it's not a done deal. It's not a definite thing. So again, just this tiny change in dynamic that changes the meaning of the lyrical content and the expression of them. And this is something that you get, why I said that this is a unique version of the song, because of the change vocally between one person and the next. Our interpretation of the words that are being sung have changed because of who's singing them. Tiny details, I know, but it's just one of the tiny things, but something that happens in music and vocals and singing when you're listening to a duet compared to just one vocalist. These tiny changes, even with a song that was sung originally by one voice, hearing another voice now gives it that slightly different meaning. So it's great. But yeah, fantastic video here to check out. Like I said, it is going to be a shorter one than normal, but I might have been talking for ages. So it could just end up being about 15 minutes, 20 minutes in length anyway. But thank you guys for requesting this particular video for me to take a look at. As always, keep those suggestions and requests coming in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!